Hello and welcome to Scarlet Serpent Readings. Thank you so much for joining me for another timeless pick a card reading. Before we begin, even with the pile selection, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time, your energy, your attention, and giving me a chance to read for you. For those of you who are just dropping in, I really appreciate you giving me a chance, and then especially for those of you who have subscribed and continuously watched these videos, your support really means a lot to me. So thank you. And if you ever have any suggestions as far as readings go, you can always leave a comment, and I'll be happy to add those to a long list of reading topics that I have already. So let's get to it. This is going to be a reading about your spirit animal, and I'm not going to go into detail as to what that means because it could mean something different for everybody. So I'm going to have 3 piles for you. However, there are 12 different animals, so I'll kind of explain further in the pile in the reading, but for now we're going to go ahead and select a pile. So for pile 1, you have this moonstone. Again, pile 1, the moonstone. Pile 2, you have the golden healer quartz. Golden healer quartz for pile 2. Okay, and then for those of you interested in pile 3, this is pile 3. This is quite heavy, to be honest. Actually, it doesn't want to focus, but this is a labradorite sphere. There we go. Labradorite spear for pile 3. So yeah, go ahead and take your time selecting a pile. If you're drawn to more than one, you could definitely pick more than one, and that's going to also apply to the numbers that I'm going to be giving to you in each pile. So you could have definitely multiple spirit animals, and those spirit animals come and go as you enter different phases in your life and learn different lessons. So that's it for the intro. I'm looking forward to reading for you in your pile. Hi, pile 1. If you chose the moonstone, this reading is going to be for you. We're going to find out what your spirit animal is, as well as a message from your spirit animal. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to take a deep breath and choose a number between 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 cards here, and whatever number you chose is going to be your spirit animal. If you decided to choose more than one, that's fine. You could definitely have more than one spirit animal, and then once I reveal each of these animals, we're going to have a message from all of these guides, all of these spirit animals. So it's kind of like they're sort of a collective from, it feels like, the lower world. So we'll start with those of you who chose number 1. I'm gonna need another card. I was a little worried about this, but I'm gonna go with it anyway. We have the Justice card for number 1. Let's see what the clarifier for that was. The Fool with the Fox. Very interesting. I feel as though you may be the person you need to be for other people. How do you say? It's like a karma bringer. That's what I'm getting. Not just about you, but about the guide that's present before you. So you might have a very close relationship with karma, and I think that's part of what your guide is teaching you at this time. Is I'm getting like shapeshifter vibes as well, so that might be why that first card wasn't actually an animal, because the animal can change. So I get very strong, again, shapeshifter vibe, but your spirit animal is the fox, able to adapt to any environment, and again with the justice, this is a very, it really feels like karma. So stepping into the awareness of the consequence of your choices, as well as for people's perspective of you may change depending on how they are emitting their energy, if that makes sense. We'll get a message from that fox in a moment. So for those of you who chose number 2, you have the Chariot with this Pegasus or horse. It's funny because the unicorn came out as well, and I put that away. I was like, because it faced up, but I feel as though for those of you who chose this number 2, it's not only the horse about movement, really trying to get you to just go in a direction. I feel as though this pile is about movement, actually, and choice. So this whole pile has that in common, I would say, so far, especially with the Fool and the Chariot being present. But when it comes to this card, there's also the sense of magic as well. So I feel as though there's that energy of wonder, of at least around you. That's what your animal guide is, animal spirit is trying to convey to you. And usually the spirits that come to us tend to align with who we are as well. So that's why I'm mentioning you. But yeah, there's a strong sense of magic and movement here. And then we have the King of Wands, which is, it looks like a wolf or some kind of dog. I'm not really sure. So with this, I would say there's an interesting contrast between like having a pair and then being alone. So what I'm getting is, don't be afraid to move on your own, because you do have momentum of your spirit guides, and really you have the power of your soul, which knows which way to go. Yeah, there's just a lot of fire within you at this time. And so whenever you have that urge, just realize that your animal spirit, the horse, is with you, trying to get you to move and not think twice. It's very instinctual. For the third number, we have the panda. I'm not really taking this 4 of Cups unless 3 of Wands. Okay, so this panda is clarified by the 3 of Wands. It feels as though there's this sort of grace, actually, when it comes to moving slowly, as opposed to some of the previous numbers, where it's like being a bit more patient. There's a strong sense of patience, and also a comfort in being patient. Like you almost don't mind waiting, and I think that's the energy that's around you. So it might be urging you to actually slow down a little bit, but also be silly. There's, again, a sense of magic and wonder with all of these animals that are here. So a strong sense of magic, a strong sense of being, I was going to say aloof, but free, really free. Because these animals, none of them, the horse, the fox, the panda, they don't need to ask people. They don't need to ask Google what they need to do now. They just do. And sometimes, for everyone so far, sometimes you feel like moving, sometimes you're just not in the mood, and it's good to not force the other, depending on what you're feeling. So for those of you who chose number 4, we have the Panther. So, and that is clarified by the Devil. I feel as though for those who chose number 4, your thoughts might be kind of trapping you a little bit. And the Panther is trying to find a way out of it. It's like the Panther is in the dark. So it's actually, I would say that if you're feeling this energy with the Devil here, of either addictive behaviors or feeling stuck, that you're actually not being punished in any way, but that you're, it's kind of like getting intel right now, and you have a spirit, an animal spirit who's assisting you in being in the dark and being comfortable in the dark and kind of analyzing, seeing what you could find, because there is a wisdom in that darkness. So let's see what the message is, now that you know which your spirit animal is, or what the message is for all of these. And I chose to do it this way because I feel as though the message, depending on what animal you got, is going to come out a little differently for each of you. So it's kind of like birds that are singing a song, and while there might be a lot of different birds singing the same song, it's just their tone is a little different. So that's really what's going on, is that the tone of each of these animals is different. Okay, so I have 5 cards here. Let me just switch one of these. So we have the fox, the horse, the panda, and the panther. We have the mother of roots. Oh, sometimes I'm getting used to this. I apologize. So all of these, it's interesting, all of these figures walk on land. So they're all planted, they're all grounded when they move. So regardless of how fast you're moving, you still need to touch the ground, and that's significant because there are definitely other animals that don't need to touch the ground at all. So to stay connected to the earth, depending on how fast you move, you might feel the earth more, and I think that's a good place to start with when it comes to deciding what path you want to take. What path you want to take, whether you feel like moving. You'll notice that this is taking place at night. So if you chose the horse or the fox, those were nighttime cards as well. So you might be inclined to take more action or do more things, or even tune into yourself more at night if you chose those 2 numbers. Then we have enchantment with, Ace of Pentacles. So I feel as though for this whole pile, a lot of this has to do with finance and feeling stable. Again, another night card. And for both of these, they're actually underground. So you might be doing, this could be, for all of you, the messages from your animal spirits are just for you. This really doesn't have to do with like a family or a partner or anything like that. This is actually very intimate, I feel. And it's all about your stability, your not even financial success as much as knowing yourself more. And I think each of these is a representation of how you move best, how you work best with yourself. Then we have inspiration. It is in reverse. I don't know. Okay, yeah. So I'm not gonna read that in reverse because these all came out in reverse. And so we have inspiration, the Ace of Wands. Again, I'll say knowing when to take action, when not to. Because that's where you really get your power. So for the example of, let's say, the Panther, being in the dark and being patient with the Devil card here. It's very sneaky, it's stealthy, it analyzes its situation, and I feel as though if you are feeling stuck in a particular environment that you don't want to be in, there will be a time for you to break free. But right now it might be more of just analysis, and if that's something that's reoccurring, I would take note of what it is that sets you free. Like maybe look to the past to see how you were able to get out of certain situations, certain toxic relationships maybe. For the rest of you, it's more of very sudden, passionate movement that goes with, the Chariot mostly. This is coming fairly strongly with the Chariot, and not being afraid to do that on your own as well. If that's something that's happened to you in the past where you want to do something but no one else is doing it, to trust, well, almost trust yourself and trust your spiritual team. And then we have the Devil coming up again. So as a message from your animal spirits, again, you might be in that situation where you feel trapped, but there's also a wisdom from it, and that's where I'm getting the connection for, especially if you chose the Panther. Recognize the thought processes that lead to behaviors that you don't want to be in, and recognize what kind of attracts those circumstances from taking place, because this is a lot of mental energy when it comes to the Devil card here. And I'm also getting for the Panda to just sit in it, and in a way you could make it fun. You could be comfortable in it, you can be patient in it as well if you are having trouble leaving a certain situation that you don't want to be in. That there is wisdom in every given moment. And this could also have to do with your shadow attributes as well. If there's something that you're not really proud of, you do things in the dark that you don't. I imagine someone just binge eating at night, like at 2 a.m., opening the fridge and stuffing their face. Like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I catch myself almost in a trance doing it, and kind of as the Panther in that situation, kind of analyzing, okay, well, this isn't you, so where did this come from? And kind of going back to the past and seeing certain patterns, how they arose from maybe childhood or even past life. That sense of analysis, like distancing yourself from a situation, that's where the Panther's coming in. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. This is going to be the only other animal that I'm going to mention. The spider. If any of you are afraid of spiders, that might be an extra animal spirit. With this, I'm getting that you're attracting what you need to. So even if you're in a situation that you feel very stuck, I find that a lot of this energy with the message that's coming through, with the 2 Pentacles cards, Queen of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, the Devil, and this Wheel of Fortune is in a web. So there's a lot of stuck energy presently for all of you. Yeah, and a lot of darkness. These are 4 of these cards are in the dark. I just want to show you if this wants to focus. There we go. So everyone who chose this pile is wanting to move out, but you're all going to find your way differently depending on your spirit animal. Well, it's not depending on your spirit animal, but your spirit animal is providing energy that'll help you. So for some of you, it'll be being balanced, and it'll be more of a karmic situation here. Some of you are just gonna like take off on your own, kind of gun it, even running away in a way. Or you might have that urge to do so, and you'll know, you know. Some are gonna sit with it, sit and analyze and be comfortable, and maybe a bit lazy at the same time, but kind of opening up for different options, allowing those to come in, and then the panther's just gonna go straight into the darkness, completely unafraid, and analyzing that situation, saying, what can I learn so this doesn't happen again? Because maybe for those of you with the panther spirit, you're kind of sick of those cycles, especially with the Wheel of Fortune and Justice. You're like, okay, I've done this enough, and I don't want this to repeat again. And that's where that shadow work comes in. So we're just going to get one more oracle message for pile 1. Ascension. So that's what all this is about. I've gotten this card a lot, so if you feel stuck, if you feel like this is uncomfortable, I'm having trouble focusing, so I apologize, but hopefully you can see that. Growing wings. Chariot, anyone? But either way, there is a way out. There's different ways out. So you're not stuck or bound unless you want to be, and you allow that opening to come slower. But there's, for all of you, definitely you just move in different ways, and that's perfectly fine. These are all different animal spirits that act differently, that interact with the world in different ways, navigate and observe their environment in different ways, and for none of them it's wrong. So I think that's one thing you don't have to worry about, is making a wrong choice, and that's just how you can navigate through life. So hopefully this reading was helpful. It was definitely different. Again, it was the fox, the horse, the panda, and the panther, and hopefully this reading did resonate in some way. If it didn't, you might want to consider looking at one of the other piles, but hopefully you enjoyed it. A like and a subscribe would be awesome, or sharing, but either way, thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in the next pick a card. Take care. Hi, pile 2. If you chose the Golden Healer's Quartz, this reading is going to be for you, and we're going to be looking at your animal spirits today. Today my camera's not cooperating, but I guess you saw it in the intro, so sorry, I wanted you to see it because it looked, there's a lot of detail, but oh well, we're gonna get into the reading. So I'm gonna ask that you take a deep breath and choose a number between 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you chose number 1, your spirit animal is the turtle. I'll mention that there is an owl in the background, so you might have 2 if you chose number 1. And that is clarified by the Roadrunner with the 8 of Wands. There might be some sort of yeah, maybe conflict, polarity between wanting to move fast or your mind moving fast and your body moving slow. But that could also be an indication of when you are more still, you download more information. But with the turtle spirit, what I'm getting mostly is your guide is very wise and very slow moving, not in a rush, but they carry their home with them. So they have that sort of earthly presence of wherever I go, I am safe and comfortable. So I'm not rushing to go anywhere. But at the same time, there's bursts of energy in which you want to get a lot done and express yourself very quickly. So there's that kind of yin and yang energy within you, around you, and part of what your guides are assisting you with is balancing those two elements. For those of you who chose the number 2, you have the camel and the otter. So again, a sense of polarity. In this case, either being burdened with everyone's responsibility or feeling light. Literally black and white here. So what I feel is that most of the time you do take on a lot of responsibility, taking care of a lot of different people, maybe even 2 groups of people. What you're being guided to do feels more like be the otter, be a bit more playful, lighten the load. And it's interesting how they do that by going in the water, which would represent, in this case, your subconscious mind. So it's kind of like allowing yourself to go on autopilot sometimes. And when I go back to the turtle, just want to do this real quick, is that if you feel like you're going too slow, you could always speed up your mind by engaging in reading or learning activities that could stimulate you while you are in a particular situation. So so far it just feels like there's 2 sides to everything, but definitely the camel. Lots of stamina here. Lots of stamina for both of these. 1 and 2, stamina and carrying that load. But not reluctantly. This is almost their job, and that they are used to it. They don't need a lot of water. But when they have water, they probably feel like the otter. And maybe this animal spirit also feels the burden if you are a healer. Like sometimes you really work and they need a break to just chill out, or they want to be called upon, if you do work with your guides, your spirit guides, or with archangels or what have you, to always be called upon when they are needed for something, as opposed to just saying hello. I feel like that would be a nice change of pace on their behalf. For those of you who chose the 3rd pile, we have the giraffe. This giraffe is a little confused, but and then we have the 5 of Pentacles. I feel as though for this pile, it seems as though if you're having some money issues, you might not be able to see why that's the case. Perhaps a lack of grounding as to where you're going. But with this giraffe, they generally have a pretty good perspective as to what's going on. So this is a strong suit, actually, of your spirit animal. Perspective. Very strong sense of perspective. And I feel as though at times you may not want to acknowledge taking a different angle at what's going on. Instead, it feels as though sometimes you might just no, this is all horrible, instead of being a little more objective. We'll also notice a similarity between 2 and 3 with the camel and the giraffe, both with long necks. I don't know if you just happen to have a long neck, but when it comes to the guides around you is there's a sense of flexibility and being able to reach into places that you wouldn't be able to reach on your own. So there's kind of that nudge, maybe pushing you to look into areas you wouldn't normally consider looking into. And then for those of you who chose number 4, we have the whale. Very free-spirited energy. You might be asked, oh, and then we have the sun, wow, with the horse. So moving freely is where you're at, or where you're being asked to step into energetically. To I believe, especially with the whale, I think it was Syrian energy, but I don't remember. But there's some sort of like alien wisdom going on in there, where it's through moving freely and in joy, you'll end up where you want to be. So if you don't feel as though you're in this energy, you definitely have the guidance to step into it and to finally feel freedom. At the cost of nothing. It's freedom because you enjoy being alive, and that's about it. And I feel as for the rest of you, the turtle, camel, and giraffe, you're all trying to get to that point of freedom in one sense or another. It's it might be slower for others. You might not have the same viewpoint. You might not know how to get there, in other words, but or you might know how to get there, but be burdened by other responsibilities. And I think your spirit guides, your animal guides, are mostly saying, you know, there are some obvious solutions that are obvious to them in the spiritual realm, but because of, you know, day-to-day living, there's a lot of distractions down here that we may not be able to see. So if you'd like, you could always tune into them and they could assist you. You could ask for, you know, give me a sign. They can be quick. They're not always very slow. I know divine timing's a thing, but at the same time, if you ask, they might show up pretty quickly. So the first card we have is the Father, King of Cups. Interesting difference between this and pile 1. Whoops. Let's see if we can get some other cards. But I feel as though navigating your emotions is the way towards that sense of freedom that we're looking at. If you chose the whale, you're definitely in your element, and even the turtle as well. But for the camel and the giraffe, especially the giraffe, it feels your emotions aren't really your favorite place to be. Especially with the pentacles, you might be a little bit more grounded in reality. And when something doesn't make sense in the physical, then you might get confused and say, like, well, I did this and this, the outcome should be this, and it's not, and I don't understand why. It could be a sense of, like, I get this feeling of manifestation, like really trying hard to manifest, writing down, putting it under your pillow, and it's not happening, and you're not sure why, and it's really just not being in a place of joy and neglecting a few other elements that might not be visible to you. So we have the 6 of Pentacles. Altruism. Again, I'm getting that sense of freedom, but the freedom through balance. So especially for the turtle, number 1 and number 2 with the camel, that sense of balance might be what brings you towards freedom. Especially balance with your spending, but also where you allocate your time. the snake and rabbit also showing up. Snake being creativity and rabbit being like moving freely. Okay. Then we have the Four of Pentacles. So Pentacles showing up a few times here with preservation. There's an armadillo there. Depending on which animal spirit you chose, you might need to hold on to money a little more tightly, and then for some of you, you might need to be willing to spend more so you could have fun. Obviously, that's the camel. You're being asked to let go and be a bit more free, whereas the giraffe spirit might be trying to tell you, you know, you could hold on to some money because it's a bit scarce at times, and you might be blindly trying to obtain a sense of happiness through things that you buy, as opposed to a feeling that you're trying to get. I feel like those of you with the whale spirit can understand that sort of thing. And if not, then again, it's something that you're being urged to step into. But a lot of grounded energy that's balancing out the emotions that came with the Father of Horns. Then we have the Son of Roots, which is the Knight of Pentacles. Lots of responsibility here, lots of roots again, and this was very similar to pile 1, where movement feels slow, and I could see that with even the whale. Like all of these creatures, all of your spirit animal guides are fairly slow moving. It may not feel slow to some. For example, the whale might feel fast, and even honestly, even the turtle spirit, it could feel fast because of the mind, of where you're putting your mental energy. Because I feel as though the Eight of Wands represents the turtle's mind, the mental state. So it feels fast even though it's slow, and that is in itself a sense of mastery that you're stepping into with the turtle spirit. Wisdom, moving slowly, not being in a rush to get things done, doing things right. And I feel as though actually for this entire pile, that you take pride in what you do and you're willing to take a little bit longer to do it. It's just sometimes you might overburden yourself, camel. Sometimes you might be overwhelmed with different options and not know which way to go with the giraffe spirit. And sometimes you don't really care that much, and you're just doing everything in and out, up and down, as you feel with the whale spirit. Finally, we have the Five of Pentacles. So the Five of Pentacles showing up twice in this reading. It's interesting how there's repeats in both piles so far. That might be a fear for everyone in this group, is a sense of not having enough to really enjoy life. And I think that's something that all of your spirit animals are teaching you, is that the joy of life comes from living as opposed to having things. And they all live in different ways. They all have different ways of expressing themselves, of getting around, of accomplishing the tasks that they need to get done, that they want to get done. Let's get a final oracle for you and close out the reading. Pace yourselves, though. There's especially, it's funny because I feel as though there's a lot of stamina with not just the camel spirit, but with the giraffe that you might have as a guide. Is that there's a lot of energy, but there's no sense of direction as to where to go to get it. And that can come from grounding yourself as well, like putting both feet on the floor and saying, okay, let me just be where I am right now before even making a step, so I don't wander aimlessly. I think that's something the turtle spirit knows how to do pretty well, just one step at a time. Just go in a direction and not be so overwhelmed with options. Let's take this one. Underworld. Is there another one? Versatility. Well, so versatility for me would be having various ways of navigating, not necessarily navigating, but accomplishing different tasks. You might feel chained up by the things that need to get done, especially day to day. This has a lot to do with, I'd say, mundane living, like just a daily cycle. A lot of you feel stuck and slow, except it's interesting that this movement of cups is really standing out. So for those of you who chose this, you might really be stepping into this energy, and it might be at the cost of like your job. I don't know if you decided to do some sort of freelance or self-employment, but I feel like that's this energy. But it's also on top of the Five of Pentacles. So I feel as though that's part of this versatility, and Underworld is kind of choosing between what type of lifestyle you want to lead, and knowing that there is a balance between them. Sorry about these cards not focusing. There we go. Let's clarify this Five of Pentacles because it's standing out so much. Two of these creatures are land creatures. Two of them are sea and land, or okay. Two of them are water, and then one is kind of a hybrid. Then we have the world with scarcity. I think with the underworld here, and then with the Five of Pentacles being clarified by the world, I think this has to do with not just ending a cycle, but as I mentioned before, moving towards freedom does require a little bit of a sacrifice, and I feel as though some of you are kind of wanting to be in this society and of houses and electronics and Wi-Fi and this, but deep down you really just want something peaceful where you just have a little cabin in a forest or in the woods. And I feel as though that's, for you, that's freedom, that's a sense of peace. And you might feel bound, and I guess unfocused like my camera, but bound like this card suggests, when what you want is this. What you want is this world. Let's sneak that in. Especially for these two, especially for the camel spirit and the giraffe spirit. You might not know how to get there, or you might just feel completely burdened by life's responsibilities, that it really feels like not just a drag, but unfun, you know? Unfun, and there's this part of you that's wondering, you know, why is this all there is to life? You know, the martinis on Fridays, is that the highlight? You know, let's help out this camel spirit. Well, no, I mean, for those of you who have the camel, again, you have access to this and it's free. You know, that sense of joy is free. You don't really have to go anywhere to be in that energy, which is something that you all want. You all want that sense of freedom, but it's allocating time for it. And for those of you who have the whale spirit, it feels like it's more of a priority, and you have the energy around you that you started attracting that energy of, I just want to be in joy, and that's my only priority. And then you now surrounded by that sort of spiritual energy, that spirit animal. But I wish you all the best. I hope this reading was somewhat helpful. It was a bit different. Please let me know what you think, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose the labradorite stone, or sphere I should say, this reading is for you. You're going to find out all about your animal spirits, guides. So yeah, I'm going to ask that you take a deep breath and then choose a number between 1 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, so we're going to reveal to you what your animal spirit is, and then we'll provide a message from everyone in this pile, or for everyone in this pile. So for those of you who chose number 1, we have the scarab with the sun. Definitely a time of transformation, but towards something positive. Getting the sense of ascension. I forget the god associated with the scarab, or if there was one, but Osiris, I feel. Definitely a lot of ancient Egypt energy around you at this time, and again, sense of transformation towards illumination for yourself. This card is clarified by the Ace of Cups. Especially with the sun, getting the sense of moving towards your sense of joy, towards things that you really want to accomplish. What might have slowed you down in terms of doubt is moving away. So very, very nice guide that you have with you. For those of you who chose the number 2, you have the owl spirit. Wisdom here, seeing through the darkness, and that's clarified by the 5 of Cups. So while you might have gone through some sort of emotional loss, some sort of heartbreak, you do have the owl spirit who is whispering, wisdom, who's telling you that this is happening for a reason, and that there is a lesson in this, and an understanding of the self through that experience. Especially if it comes to fear. So Like, what are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of it? And what's the lesson in that fear? Okay, so for those who chose number 3, we don't have an animal. I'm going to see what the clarifying card is, but definitely this being is trying to push you into an energy of true material satisfaction in a way that can be expressed towards others with Mercury and crystals as well. So you might connect well with crystals or gain energy, or that might even be, I wouldn't put it, I don't know how to say it, but like crystal fairies, I don't know if that's something you may resonate with, or elementals, but really there might be beings that communicate through you, to you through crystals. And then we have the snake with death. I like how it showed the crystals first, the 10 of Cups, before revealing itself as the snake, which may feel uncomfortable. This sort of transformation, which could be given a bad name for itself, being a snake, but really it's creativity being manifested, movement and life through death. And I feel like that's what's going to bring you into this energy of 10 of Cups. I said material success, didn't I? As if it was the Pentacles. But I feel as though being in that overflowing with joy, we have two water. Actually, all of the clarifiers so far, or all of these spirit animals, are tied to water in some way, at least as what they're expressing. So definitely navigating through different emotional periods depending on what animal you chose. Could be the key to getting through the circumstance that you're in, or to get to where you want to be, especially in terms of the snake. And then we have death again. Wow. So pile 2, and it's interesting that each pile that has been chosen has had a repeat card through multiple decks. But there is a butterfly here, right up there. So there is a freedom that comes from death, and you'll notice that it is the same flower, the same rose, the same for both of these. So if you wanted to, or were considering choosing number 3 and 4, this is confirmation of that being the right choice. But really a sense of transformation. But the transformation is different. The transformation from snake is just shedding the skin, but it's still a snake. So it's really more of, for those of you who chose number 3, getting rid of old patterns, old beliefs, and allowing more of you to shine through. Whereas with the butterfly, it's just a complete 180, where there's this part of you that you are hiding, possibly consciously or subconsciously, and that's what's coming out. And then we have the 2 of Pentacles. Isn't this is fascinating? This 2 of Pentacles has the snake in it. If you look really closely, if my camera wants to cooperate, it's hiding. I don't know if you could see it. In brown, there's a snake. So again, 1 and 3, there's definitely a connection. 2 cards of transformation here. But with this particular butterfly, there is a sense of prioritizing your truth as opposed to what you want others to see you to be, other people's perception of you. So I think through choosing to be authentic to yourself, you'll really find freedom. Okay, so I'm just allowing myself to see the bottom cards. Let's get the message for this entire pile. So regardless of what your spirit animal is, the message is going to be the same, but the way that message is described will depend on what animal you chose or chose you. We have the Three of Pentacles coming out first. With work, it's funny that the card says work, and I don't even know what it is. It's like a mole rat or something. Is not working at all. It's very tired. It's lazy. It's like you don't have to do that much when you're working as a team. And it's interesting how okay. First of all, I wanted to say there are penguins here, but I didn't mention them. If you resonate with penguins, they are here. They're just sad, so I ignored them. But if penguins usually make you happy, that might be an indication of the fact that there's like an inner child work that can be done. But anyway, all of the animals that I had mentioned really work by themselves. I don't know about the scarab, so I'm not sure. Sorry, but the owl, the snake, butterflies sometimes, but especially I would say for these two. Three of Pentacles is indicating that you may be stepping into a time of reunion with people who are like-minded, share your vision, and can help you. That you really aren't alone as you thought. Utilizing different skills. Everyone has a different skill that they can offer. So even if you are the owl and you unite with like a falcon, I don't know, but it's still a bird, and they each offer different perspectives. And I would say for the scarab spirit, it's like this spirit is leading you towards people who make you happy, who share the same emotional pool as you do, but it might have been hard to find without the wings. But now that you're transforming, spreading your wings at last, also with the butterfly, I would say, through being your true self and following that sunlight, that inner sun, you're able to connect with like-minded people. What is going on here? I apologize for that, but it was just a little shocking. I did shuffle these very well, but like the last 3 readings, it's been almost exclusively pentacles for the message, and it's very interesting. It feels as though it's all about navigating the mundane world, creating a sense of stability. This is the Page of Pentacles, daydreaming here. Working together, though, we do have a woodpecker and a baby bear, a cub. Working together for a better tomorrow. Notice there's 2 windows. So I feel as though now's the time. These spirit animals are here to get you out of looking out the window and daydreaming of a better world and actually getting it. Like going out, doing the things you enjoy doing, going to adventure and work on something that has real meaning as opposed to just working for money. We also have the Hermit, a time for introspection and a time to really decide what that is. Not so much how you're going to get to that place, but what it would feel like once you're already there. Take note as well for those of you who chose the owl spirit, double confirmation here. With the Hermit and the moon there as well. So you might be connected to the moon, but interesting that for those who chose the owl spirit, when you do find yourself in a place of emotional loss, you can also enter hermit mode. So it's both of those messages with the high priestess and the hermit, that you'll gain that wisdom through isolating yourself. Especially, like, allow yourself the space to digest bad emotions and negative emotions, things that make you feel uncomfortable, because there is, again, inner wisdom that comes from it. And the last card is Breach with the 7 of Cups. 7 of Cups feels very different here. This could be a sign of someone just entering your emotional field, trying to stop this transformation that most of you are going through. The scarab, the owl, not so much. Well, the owl, yeah, it's good, like an inner transformation, as opposed to these other animals are representing an outer, more elaborate transformation. So one is the transformation of the mind, the other one is more of spirit, I would say. Let's get another card. But yeah, just be mindful of those who try and stop you, especially if it's yourself. That, it's not practical to do the thing that I really want to do. Oh, it's not practical. There's no way I can actually find people who are like me. I'm so alone in this way of thinking. Or just be mindful of those thoughts that come in. And then, of course, the 2 cards that came out are both Pentacles. We have the 7 of Pentacles and the 9 of Pentacles, with growth and accomplishment. The woodpecker came up twice, so that might also be an animal spirit. If you notice, if you hear it, I've heard them recently, and it's very calming, and growth. So this is absolutely a time for spiritual growth. That sense of ascension is really there, but it's all about expressing your true self and being able to just go get after what you want, which sounds a lot easier when you just say it, but when it comes to taking the action, it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a look at yourself, a hard look at yourself, to see, who am I, who do I want to be, and am I aligned with those things. We have get creative. Well, this is stepping outside the box, so that, and I feel as though, especially with the owl spirit, this camera doesn't like the cards. Yeah, not at all. It's not taking it well. But it's a winged rose, essentially. There we go. Get creative. Grow those wings. Especially with the sun card being the card of the solar plexus, the seat of creativity as well. So you might be, your animal spirit might be trying to push you to work on your solar plexus as well. But also, when it comes to creativity, that's your way towards getting into that dream, being on the other side of the window. Your accomplishment is to actually move out of a certain way of being that not only doesn't serve you, but you're just over it at this point. Let's see if I can get another oracle card for you, but And with the snake spirit as well, that get creative is definitely snake energy. It's I think I had mentioned that as well. And we have the weaver. It's like you're creating your own fate. Another snake. Snake's coming up. Snake came up 3 times in this reading, so very strong snake energy here. Ouroboros there with the sword as well, but allowing, there's something in you that wants to come out, that wants to express itself, especially as the butterfly, and this thing will, it'll just feel nice to express this part of you. You might not even know what it is yet, but and through meditation you'll be able to tap into it, really. There are different ways to get to that point depending on which animal spirit you have. If you like being isolated, if it's through movement, if it's through just exploration outside, or feeling free and riding bike or running. But for everyone in this pile, it's like the main goal for you is to be the fullest expression of yourself possible. And so I believe that these spirit animals are really close and are really hoping to help you do that. You can always tap into them. But hopefully this reading was helpful. It was a little bit different. Feel free to like and subscribe, comment, let me know how it resonated. We can have a discussion about it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Thank you so much. Take care.